It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Video 237. Day in that neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, hope y'all doing excellent out there today, as always. And I'm glad y'all came on back to our channel once again, as always, to fuck with the bean. Now, today, we're gonna go back to our homegirl channel for this video. And y'all know who our homegirl is. Anna Sauce! Go on back to Anna Sauce, y'all. Title of the video, 29/04/2023. I'm thinking that's April the 29th, 2023. Real footage of racists shoot 9 people in church. Copy. Now, I remember a story a couple of months ago. Probably like 5, 6, 7, maybe even like a year ago now. You know how time flies so fast. Of a white person going into a black community church and shooting up the place, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think this is the story because of the date that she got. April 29th, 2023. That was a couple days ago. So I don't know if it's that story, but at the same time, all these stories kind of like intertwine and mesh and mush together. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit happens so much now. These type of headlines are becoming the norm. Like, seriously, man. Like, humans, like I always say, y'all, humans are the best thing on earth and also the worst things on earth, man. I don't know, but we finna check this story out. But before we check it out, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you might need. Get what you need for the story, please. We finna get into it. Another one from our homegirl, Anna Sauce. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
Mr. Ruth, you're charged with 9 counts of murder and 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime.
Every fiber in my body hurts. And I'll never be the same.
How can you be the same after a racist spree killer murders your family for being a different color? This is Dylann Roof. In 2005, he entered the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. There, he pulled out his gun and shot everyone in sight. This was made even worse by the fact that he was welcomed in with open arms before he killed everyone. How did a once happy boy with a loving mother end up radicalized, filled with hatred, and murderous? Let's explore the sinister story of Dylann Roof.
Okay, she said in 2005, so this was a long ass time ago. This was 18 years ago. You see, now that go back to what I was just telling y'all, man. These stories happen so much. This same history really do repeat itself. Like in all shapes, forms, fashions of life, history repeats its fucking self. And this is just another prime example. And like Anna just said, man, that racist shit, the most crazy. That's probably the top 3 craziest shit ever being a racist. You hate somebody because of the color of their skin? Like, I feel like racists have a fucking mental problem. But before I go on my rant, let's just get back to the story, man.
We live in the 21st century, a century defined by humans trying hard to put hate, bigotry, and violence between them. So it's shocking and heartbreaking that a baby boy in the 1990s could think the way Dylann Roof did. Today's story begins in South Carolina, the state's largest city, Charleston. Charleston is home to 150,000 people and has a really dark history. During the colonial era, Charleston was a major slave trading port. Sadly, this would become appealing to Dylann Roof. Dylann was born on April 3rd, 1994 in Columbia, South Carolina, to his dad Ben and his mom Amy. Ben worked as a construction contractor and Amy was a bartender. By the time Dylann was born, they were already divorced, but they had reunited briefly to take care of their son. However, in 1999, Ben married another woman, Paige. So Dylann grew up with his dad and his two half-sisters, but the family never found stability. Ben and Paige's marriage broke apart within a decade after she had had enough verbal and physical abuse from him. On top of that, the family moved from town to town until around 2008. This was the life Dylann was exposed to, a violent, erratic father and an ever-changing scenery that didn't allow him to form close friendships. But Dylann didn't show signs of distress for a while. He was a happy-go-lucky boy who always smiled at the camera and seemed to have a good time wherever he went. No one in his family saw what was coming. His father remembers, "I don't know what happened. I just know that the boy wasn't raised that way." Whether Ben is just saying that to cover his own mistakes or he is genuinely shocked at what his son became, I guess we'll never know. However, it's safe to say verbal or physical abuse from a parent doesn't automatically make someone a racist murderer.
I guess.
At school, Dylann didn't leave much of an impression on his teachers. Asked about him years later, his teachers say they remember almost nothing about him. He wasn't rowdy or exceptionally conscientious. He was a regular kid, with one small exception. Dylann used hand sanitizer compulsively. Dylann's obsession with cleanliness was the only thing classmates remembered too. All but Caleb, Dylann's best friend from Columbia. He commented, "I just remember that he wasn't necessarily doing that good in school on the easy stuff. And it wasn't just books. In everything, he was just dull. He wasn't really street smart. Let's say we were at the park and we had to run away, he'd be kind of slow on getting what we needed to do." Here's an interesting twist. Caleb is black.
He had a small group of select friends. I was one of them. I'm obviously of color.
This wasn't a problem with young Dylann. He was a normal kid who loved everyone the same. But there was a kind of frustration that he was slowly beginning to feel, and it had little to do with race. Dylann's former school principal, Ted Watcher, explained that his frustration stemmed from being a working class boy. To understand Dylann, you need to read The Hidden Injuries of Class, about how white working class people in Boston, in South Boston, the more you interviewed them, what came out, especially after a few beers, is how inferior they felt to all the Harvard, Cambridge, bright, educated people. Basically, Dylann slowly became frustrated at how he always felt behind his peers. And as many of these were black, he remembered Charleston's history. Instead of being happy for those whose families escaped slavery and achieved an education, he was envious. And they say, "What are these people doing up there? What has happened to me?" By the time he dropped out of school at age 15, Dylann was a racist monster in the making. This is what he wrote on his website, thelastRhodesian.com. "My blood is from mostly the British Isles, but I have been blessed with a significant amount of German blood and a German surname. My blood is representative of America. I wish with a passion that we're treated terribly throughout history by whites, that every white person had an ancestor who owned slaves."
Now, time out. I ain't finna just try to blame the father like that or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, you said you ain't know nothing about you. He wasn't raised like that or nothing. Where the fuck he get this shit from? Where did this mentality come from? And I you know what? I ain't gonna even blame the father. I still ain't gonna blame the father because it's other places he could have got this shit from. But what I'm really trying to say is, I feel like the father knew that his damn son had some racist shit going on. At the end of the day. Let's go.
At the beginning of 2015, 20-year-old Dylann worked for Clark's Termite and Pest Control in Irmo. His boss and his coworkers noticed that Roof was often spaced or zoned out while working, that he would go sit somewhere else by himself, even though the rest of the crew was sitting together, and that he would fall asleep virtually any time he was stationary. Another said he once asked Roof about his hobbies, and Dylann said he did not do anything. He just went home and sat in his room. When the coworker asked Roof if he played video games, games, Roof said, "No, I literally look at the walls." Dylan had no friends and felt constantly depressed, as he would tell those who tried to connect with him. But in 2015, he created a Facebook account. He added 88 friends, and the majority of them were black kids who he went to school with. 88 because H is the 8th number of the alphabet, and 2 H's is the Nazi shorthand for Heil Hitler. On April...
Wow, this dude a Hitler fan too? And I was wrong again, y'all. I'm still getting my dates confused on this shit. I thought the actual, you know what I'm saying, shooting happened in 2005. No, Anna just took her back to 2005 to give us some backstory what the fuck going on. So it may have happened in 2023. But all I'm trying to say is, I'm going to say it again, the signs are there. The signs are there that this dude is on a path to doing something fucked up. And I just can't believe that his parents ain't see it coming. I can't believe it. But let's just keep going.
11th, 8 days after Dylan turned 21, the legal age for purchasing a gun in South Carolina, he took the money his father had given him for his birthday and drove to a gun store in West Columbia called Shooter's Choice, where he picked out a Glock .45 caliber pistol. But he already had a criminal record for drug possession, so he wasn't legally able to carry a gun. Dylan thus lied on his concealed weapon permit application and wrote no on the line that asked, "Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance?" Dylan was still using opioids at the time that he bought his gun. Perhaps the FBI should have done a background check when he bought it, or perhaps the store should have checked Dylan's record. As it turns out, the FBI did conduct a check, only their answer came 2.5 months after Dylan's purchase. It was 1 minute too late. 9 people were dead. On June 17, 2015, 12 churchgoers gathered at the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston. It was a Wednesday, and on that day, every week, they would meet for Bible study. This wasn't just about religion, it was about community too. These people were very close to each other, and they loved hanging out every week. But that day, an unfamiliar face would turn up at the church too. That's right, Dylan opened the church's doors and stepped in. The other people thought nothing of it. Perhaps he was a local college kid, they thought. Maybe he was studying theology, race studies, or history. So they welcomed him kindly and offered him a seat. Reverend Clementa Pickney personally pulled out a chair for Dylan. He was the first to be shot with 3 bullets. Within minutes, 9 out of the 12 people were butchered. Dylan pulled out his gun and shot everyone. 2 of the 3 survivors were a woman, Felicia Sanders and her granddaughter. The woman had to lie down in her own son's blood, covering her granddaughter's mouth so Dylan wouldn't hear her whimpers. They played dead, hoping Dylan would leave. The 3rd survivor was a 72-year-old Polly Shepard. Dylan left her alive to tell the story, believing Felicia and her granddaughter were dead.
Please answer. 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Please, Emmanuel Church, there's plenty of people shot down here. Please send somebody right away.
Emmanuel Church?
Emmanuel, yeah, he shot the pastor, he shot all the men in the church. Please come right away.
Imagine what this does to the survivors, their families, and all those who thought these days were over. At the time of the murders, Dylan was living in a Red Bank community trailer south of Lexington, sleeping on the couch of his former high school buddy, Joseph Meek. It turns out that Joseph shared some of Dylan's interests, and the two reconnected with each other after years of silence. They would spend most of their days doing drugs and playing video games. One time, Joseph had several friends over, and Dylan confessed he was planning to shoot people at Charleston University. When his friends pressed him about it, he refused to explain.
I'm sorry, bro. I gotta stop it again. And that last little segment about how he went in there and shot all them people in that church, man, that shit that's so heartbreaking, bro. But I gotta stop you for this. This fucking dude with this fucking Confederate flag. How many pictures have he taken, have we seen in this video of him holding that damn Confederate flag? Now, we all know what the Confederate flag means. Well, I ain't gonna say all of us, but come on, man. You want me to break it down real quick what the Confederate flag mean? Basically, what that shit represented is that the Confederates, they wanted it to still be states with slavery. Man, it was the Deep South. They still wanted to have their own government where slavery still could be empowered or law or legal. They still wanted that shit to be legal, and that was the fucking flag that represented that shit. Long story short, short story long. So all I'm saying is, this man goddamn got the flag and all these damn pictures. Come on, man. Y'all know he was a fucking racist. Or he hated black people. Or he represented something against people of color. People don't take pictures with this unless they just got some resentment towards the color of my skin. That's all I'm saying, man. It just go back to what all the other videos we be watching. This shit could be prevented, man. This is a telltale sign. This picture right here and all the other pictures that we seen before it. Let's keep going.
Later on, Dylan told Joseph he was planning to conduct his spree at the Emmanuel Church. Joseph later said he didn't take him seriously, then that Dylan begged him not to tell anyone. So Joseph didn't call the police before or after the tragedy. After taking 9 lives in just a few minutes, Dylan attempted to take his own life, but he'd run out of bullets. So at 9:06, he left the church. Straight after, Dylan drove over to the branch AME Church in Somerville. Dylan stopped in front of the church for 3 minutes. There was supposed to be a Bible study meeting there too, but that day it had been canceled. The police would find several church targets written down at Dylan's home, but Dylan wasn't immediately apprehended. In fact, the police were desperate to identify the man seen on the church's CCTV. As soon as his picture came on TVs all across the country, Dylan's own family phoned the police and identified him. But by now, Dylan was on the run. Luckily, a North Carolina florist recognized his car and phoned the police's tip line.
Something just kept telling me, there's something about that car.
Dylan was thus tracked down to Shelby, North Carolina, 250 miles away from the church. During the interrogation, it was clear just how clear Dylan's reasoning was.
Can you tell us about what happened last night?
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I went to that church in Charleston, and I did it.
So you shot him?
Yes.
What kind of gun did you use?
A Glock 45.
How long were you at the church before you actually, before you pulled your weapon out? You said yourself you shot, you think maybe 5 or so people. How long were you at the church before you decided that you were going to do that?
Well, I just went in the church, and then I sat down with them for like maybe 15 minutes.
Dylan let the churchgoers introduce themselves to him, welcome him to their table, and invite him to pray. When they closed their eyes to pray, that's when he pulled out his gun. Toward the end of the interrogation, Dylan finally addressed the elephant in the room, his sinister motive. Just listen to his disturbing view.
The fact of the matter is, what I did is so minuscule to what they're doing to white people every day, all the time. And just because that doesn't get on the news doesn't mean it's not happening. Everybody knows that the news is biased for black people. We can pretend it's not, but it is.
When he was asked if he had any remorse for what he'd done, he said that he felt he needed to do it, and he still feels that way.
I had to do it because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is brave enough to do anything about it, Back in the late 80s and the early 90s, we had skinheads and stuff like that. There's no skinheads left. There's no KKK. KKK never did anything anyway.
Wow.
Wow, you right, Anna. Goddamn, wow, what the fucking shit did I just hear? Did we just hear, my brothers and sisters? What the hell was that? Now, first off, if it's not even whatever the reason, whatever he feel in his heart, he probably do feel in his heart that they trying to protect black people. Whatever that bullshit he said, it don't change the fact that them people you killed. I'm not even talking about skin color no more. Them people that you killed going into that church, bro, was innocent people. It don't change that fact. I'm not even talking about black or white. I'm just talking about the fact that them was innocent people going to fucking church, man. And you took it out on them, your problems that you think you got or whatever. Cold-hearted killer, bro. And don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck. Oh, man, bro. This shit is... Man, goddamn, bro. Is life real? You look at videos like this and just be like, is life really real? Wow.
As the investigators checked Dylan's past, one thing became clear. He'd become self-indoctrined on the internet. His family did not share his views, and in fact, Dylan had complained about not having someone to talk to. In other words, not having who to cast racial slurs with. Dylan had never met any white supremacists physically, and he never signed up for any organizations. And while he was publicly identified as the killer, Dylan's family found it hard to believe that it was their son or brother. He hadn't discussed his thoughts or feelings with them for quite some time. In a way, they were as shocked and confused as the churchgoers' families. Who was this man? How did he get so low? This became the million-dollar question. What happened to Dylan? Sure, he'd come from an unstable family, and he had his frustrations, but not all people with unstable families or drug addictions end up like Dylan. In fact, very, very few of them do. And it's even rarer for people born in the 1990s.
Mr. Ruth, you're charged with 9 counts of murder and 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime.
Needless to say, everyone was appalled at Dylan's horrific crime, from the authorities to the judge and the South Carolina communities. There was very little his defense team could do. How do you defend someone who did that and who stated what he did during the interrogation?
It seems the defense is in a really tough position here. Sure looks like there's a lot of evidence against him. The interesting question is going to be, what if he says, I'll plead guilty, but you've got to take the death penalty off the table?
Oh, hell no, we not. We ain't taking shit off the table. Matter of fact, kill his ass now. Kill him now.
In many, many cases, prosecutors would accept that. In this case, I think they probably won't.
Dylan also couldn't go with the insanity route. His motive was all too clear.
He knew exactly what he was doing. And he was doing it because he wanted to kill people. Because he hated them.
The police unearthed a horrible list of photos showing Dylan wearing a jacket with 2 patches. One for Apartheid and one for the former Rhodesia. Sheesh. But at his trial, it wasn't those abominable moments that were remembered, but Dylan's 9 victims. Clementa Pickney, Tyanza Sanders, Cynthia Hurd, Sharonda Coleman Singleton, Mira Thompson, Ethel Lance, Daniel Simmons, DePayne Middleton Doctor, Susie Jackson.
It makes absolutely no sense at all. And that's why I say I still can't even really fathom that it was him that committed all of those heinous crimes.
Dylan left loved ones, acquaintances, victims, and a whole world in shock. Yet, his victims' families found it in their hearts to forgive him.
The last family is gonna be okay. And that's all I have to say.
How did you express forgiveness down there?
I'm a Christian woman. I believe in God.
Dylan found forgiveness for the worst crime imaginable from his victims. He could never understand the love, empathy, and kindness that other people have. On January 11th, 2017, Dylan was sentenced to death. 2 months later, he pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. Surprisingly, his plea was accepted, but that won't amount to much. Dylan was sentenced to 9 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. He will spend the rest of his life in a sad little headspace with no friends, no love, and no hope. Perhaps that's the biggest punishment someone can get, and in the case of Dylan, I think we can say it's warranted. Hey, thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on this case? What is the appropriate punishment for someone like Dylan? And could his downfall have been prevented? Let me know in the comment section, and before you leave, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. See you next time.
First of all, y'all, I gotta say, at the end of the damn video, my fucking owl come on. I don't know if y'all hear it or not, but if y'all do, hey, fuck it. Excuse me for that. But no, man, back to this real quick, y'all. Yeah, Anna, he should. I mean, like I said, man, I ain't putting it all on his daddy, but I'm just saying this shit could have been prevented if somebody would have caught on to the signs, the warning signs. He was giving out a lot of warning signs to let you know that he can potentially do some crazy shit like this. And he racist in the motherfucker. And like I said, I don't want to blame it on his daddy, because we don't know if he really got the shit from his daddy. Especially like in this day and age, you know what I'm saying? He could have got that shit off the internet. Like, you can watch videos on YouTube of YouTubers or whoever. Well, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but you can watch shit on the internet that can make you believe in that racist shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody on the internet can influence you to be racist. It ain't gotta be nobody you're around and all that. So I ain't gonna say he got that shit from his family, but he got that shit from somewhere. But I can't say his family, man. Y'all seen all them damn pictures he was taking with the shit. Y'all seen the shit he posted on his blog. Y'all, I don't know, man. These fucking, like I said too, man, these fucking racists, bro. They make my head hurt, man, because they motive is so fucking stupid. It is so stupid, y'all. You hate somebody because of the color of their skin. That's basically what it come down to. The color of their damn skin. Crazy as fuck, man. I ain't really even got too much to say else for this one, my brothers and sisters, man. Oh, rest in peace to all 9 of them people. Most definitely, man. Rest in peace to all them people, man. This one right here kind of hurt, man. This one right here tragic, man. This shit tragic as fuck, man, because his reasoning behind it. I mean, no reasoning behind murder is good, but it's like, dude. Go back to what I said before you started the video. Humans can be the best thing on earth, and we can also be the worst. Fucking crazy. Go on, let y'all get up out of here now, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all comment, subscribe, and do all that for me. I love y'all, my brothers and sisters, man. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Y'all come on back to the channel tomorrow, because tomorrow we going to who? Mr. Ballin. Go on back to Mr. Ballin tomorrow, y'all. So y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. But until then, my friends, you know I got to say this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.